Hello and happy Mother's Day. I am super excited to tell you that today is a special women's group coaching bonus episode. We've never done this before and we're super pumped. So Kaylena Davis of our Tuesday night group absolutely loves the Enneagram. She's done Enneagram training. She talks about it all the time. And so we're like, listen, lady, why don't you teach us a class about Enneagram? Give us a rundown of the numbers, help us figure out the things we need to know about ourselves as it pertains to the Enneagram. And y'all, she delivered. And that's what we're going to share with you right now. We're sharing the first 30 minutes, which was her teaching portion, but you guys, we talked for a full hour after the teaching portion where she answered our questions. And if you want that content, you have to go join women's group coaching because it's private to the women who are in that group. We're not trying to be mean, but we want to keep people anonymous and protect their privacy. But you're going to want to go join women's group coaching. You can go to anatomyofus.com. But as I promised, here is Kaylena and her Enneagram episode. And make sure to stick around because at the end, I'm going to share a little bit more about women's group coaching and what's coming up in the summer.
Sweet. Hey, everyone. Okay, so I have some notes. So you'll see me kind of like bounce over and look at my notes because I just don't want to say, get my stuff mixed up or say the wrong thing or anything like that. I'm a type 1. So like everything has to be right, Anyways, I'm super passionate about Enneagram. And personalities and how they all affect us in our daily life and how we see the world, because we all see the world through different lenses. And part of that is personalities. I love it because I think it's a great tool for learning how to interact with different people, each other, your spouse, your children, especially if you know their numbers, or even if you are able to kind of sort of guess their numbers. It's really interesting to see like how my filter and their filter like comes together. And that's why we see things so vastly differently a lot of times. So I did send a link in the general channel. I wasn't sure if y'all were able to take your test to see what number you are, if you didn't already know your number. And if you didn't get a chance to and you don't know your number, totally fine. As I go over all this stuff, you should find yourself probably in a couple of these somewhere. You can either narrow it down from there by doing a little bit more research, or you can go on and take the test and see if any of those numbers pop up and be like, okay, that's probably my number. And if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to me too, because I love talking about this. I could talk about it all day, every day, all the time. Anyways, do y'all know your number? If you do, hold it up. I'm a 1. 7s, 4s, lots of 4s, 3s, 9s, 6, 1. Reva, I got your message, Reva, about the 1. Okay, so do y'all know your spouse's numbers? Hold them up. Mine's a 3, 5, 6. Wow. 0. Sorry, Reva. That one threw me for a minute. I was like, 0. Is she looking at Enneagram or something different? Oh, that was funny. All right, so today I am going to briefly go over all 9 types. For those of you who like to take notes or want to take notes, I'm going to start with the primary emotion, the stance, the triad, wounding message, and their orientation to time. I'll give a few natural gifts and then a natural tendency and a growth point. Before I get into all that, though, I'm going to briefly explain stance and triad for those of you who either don't necessarily know or you're a little bit confused on it. And I also want to say, so please keep in mind, Enneagram is not meant for weaponizing yourself or anyone else. It is meant for personal growth only. So I'm going to start with type 8 because it's the most natural progression for keeping them together in like the emotions. And you'll see kind of as we go along, because 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7 all have the same emotion. So that's the order I'm going to go in today. I'll try my best to answer any questions at the end. If I don't know it, I will do some research and I will get back with you, and then we can have a conversation about Enneagram because, again, I love it. Let's talk about it all day long. All this stuff that I'm going over today, I did learn from Life in the Trinity Ministries by Suzanne Stabile, Billy and Joey Shuey, and a little bit of stuff from Your Enneagram Coach by Beth McCord. All right, so here we go. Getting into stances and triads. I'm going to do triads first. Triads are how you take in or receive information. There's 3 triads. There's doing, feeling, and thinking. Doing triad people process information by doing something about it. They tend to make themselves part of a solution to a problem or a thing that's going on. Feeling triad people process information given to them with feelings. They tend to say things like, I have a feeling, or this feels like, or something like that. If you'll listen to people talk, they'll say things like that when they're in the feeling triad, because that's what they're doing all the time is feeling. And then thinking triad, these people, they process information by thinking before doing something or feeling something. So they will sit and they can think about feelings, but they may not necessarily feel feelings, or they'll think about doing something, but they may not necessarily do the something. So they spend a lot of time in their heads thinking a lot. Stances. Okay. Yeah, I just did tries. Okay. So stances is basically how you stand in the world or how you process information. The stances are independent, solitary, and responsive. By the way, for those of you who are familiar with this, these are reworded a little bit, and I tend to like these because I think they sound better than aggressive, dependent, or withdrawing, because those do not sound great to me at all. I hate being called that I'm dependent because I think I'm not dependent on anybody, but and then aggressive people hate being called with aggressive, and withdrawing people, I don't think they mind that one too much, but independent, solitary, and responsive to me sounds much nicer. Independent means that, and when things are in total chaos around you, it does not affect them. Solitary people, they tend to retreat from chaos around them. And responsive people tend to make themselves part of the solution to the chaos going on around them. So responsive people move towards others. Solitary people move away from others, and independent people are not moved at all by others. The way these two work together is we can take in information by either thinking, feeling, or doing, and then we process that information either independently, solitarily, or by responding. All right, wounding messages are messages we believe about ourselves, even if it's unspoken. This tends to be from childhood, and then we carry it over into adulthood with us. And some people don't even realize it until they hear it, and they're like, oh man, that's me. And it kind of sucks sometimes, but if you know the wounding message, then you can help heal from there. All right, so going into it from there, I'm going to start with type 8. So type 8, they are called the protective challenger. Anger is their primary emotion, often seen and expressed as short and quick bouts, and then it's gone. They externalize their anger. Their stance is independent. Their triad is doing. And their wounding message is it's not okay to feel vulnerable or trust anybody. And they are future time oriented. Their natural gifts are they are confident, they're decisive, they have a lot of energy, they're natural protectors, they're justice driven, they are intuitively logical thinkers, and they are transparent people. What you see is what you get. They will never be anything different for anybody. Their natural tendency is to push past people in order to do things for themselves, and their growth point is giving others time and space to be unsure. All right, so type 9, peaceful mediator is what they're called. Anger is their primary emotion, often seen and expressed as sweet stubbornness. They're asleep to their anger. So generally with 9s, you don't see their anger a whole lot. They will very warmly regard you in, like, if you are, let's say you're driving down the road and a 9 is driving and they're like, in the slow lane, just kind of moving on along. And you say, hey, you can get over in this lane. You can go a little bit faster. If they don't want to do it, they might like look over at you and smile, turn up the music and just keep on doing what they're doing. But they're not going to address it because they don't like the conflict. but they will just keep doing what they're doing because you're not going to move them. They're not going to do what they don't want to do. Let's see. Their stance is solitary. Their triad is doing, and their wounding message is your presence does not matter, and they are pastime oriented. Their natural gifts are they are great delegators. They have the natural ability to see all sides in conflicts. They're naturally calm in complicated situations. They merge well with others, and they encourage harmony. Their natural tendency is to merge and deny their own voice, and their growth point is risking harmony to voice a position. All right, so type 1, the reformer. This one was the most difficult for me because it's really hard for me to find natural gifts of a type 1 because I am that. You'll generally find that that's like the hardest one. If you can't find a natural gift about your own type or about a type, it's probably because you are that type and you're like, I don't have any natural gifts, But I did have a friend that helped me with this, that she's really good with Enneagram as well. Anyways, type 1, the reformer. Anger is the primary emotion, often seen and expressed as resentment, and they internalize their anger. So for example of this, it usually happens with reaction formation. So something happens and we reform anger into an appropriate reaction until we can't, and then we blow up. Most of the time, what we're angry about isn't really what we're angry about, and it's just layers and layers of unspoken anger that's been building, and then it just spews out on everyone around us. We're in the responsive stance and the doing triad. And the wounding message is it's not okay to make mistakes, and we are present time oriented. Natural gifts are intuitively see right and wrong or mistakes, naturally see what needs improvement in their environment. They're hard workers, they are fair-minded, and they're practical and action oriented. Natural tendency is to be right or wrong, black or white thinking, and the growth point is giving others the freedom to do things their own way. So type 2, the helpful giver. Anxiety or comparison is the primary emotion, often seen and expressed as being unaware of their own feelings and needs to meet others. An example of this is they will walk in a room and read each person's emotions and take that on for themselves, and then go and then do something about it from there. Their stance is responsive, and they're in the feeling triad. The wounding message is it's not okay to have your own wants and needs, and they are present time oriented. Their natural gifts are they are natural empaths, they're helpers, they intuitively see how you are feeling and what you need. They build strong connections with people, and they are nurturing. Their natural tendency is to deny their own needs and wants and take care of others. Their growth point is directly communicate their needs and desires to others to practice their boundaries. So type 3, the successful achiever. Anxiety or comparison is the natural emotion, often seen and expressed as constant doing. So this is my husband, and I see this in him all the time. It makes me laugh. So an example of that is that they turn their feelings into projects. They're always doing projects. If they're upset, they're going to find a project. If they're happy, they're going to find a project. They just love projects. They love things to do. They love to be busy, and they love to just do and do and do and do and do all the time. They are in the independent stance and the feeling triad. And their wounding message is it's not okay to have your own feelings or identity, and they are future time oriented. Their natural gifts are they are socially savvy. They inspire us to live up to our individual potential. They're very hard workers. Most of the time they get the task at hand done because they don't stop until they do. They're good at reading the overall emotion of the room when they walk in somewhere. They are great leaders, and people love to follow them. They're also really good at public speaking in front of a bunch of people because they're great with just coming up with something on the top of their head, and everybody loves them because they always just sound so great. Their natural tendency is to push others to be as productive as them and getting caught up in tasks over people. And their growth point is celebrating others for doing tasks on their own terms and timelines. Type 4 Sammy, I think about you all the time when I go over type 4 stuff. I just love you. All right, type 4 is the romantic individualist. Anxiety or comparison is the primary emotion, often seen and expressed as dissatisfaction or what's missing. And an example of this is they compare themselves to the people closest to them to compare what they don't have because they believe they are internally flawed. Their stance is solitary, their triad is feeling, and their wounding message is it's not okay to be too much or not enough, and it's not okay to feel important. And they are pastime oriented. Their natural gifts are they intuitively see and encourage authenticity. This is my favorite part about a type 4, what I'm about to say right now. They're the only number on the Enneagram that can bear witness to pain and not feel the need to fix it. So in other words, like if you are hurting, if something happens, a death in the family, if someone's super close to you, find a 4 because they will be able to sit with you in your deepest, darkest of pain, and they will not try to fix it. They will not try to change it. They will just feel with you. They're amazing people. Anyways, they naturally draw out emotional depth from others, and they are artistically inclined. Their natural tendency is to focus on what's missing or getting caught up in fluctuating feelings, and their growth point is meeting others in the mundane of daily routine. All right, so type 5. Type 5 is the investigative thinker. Fear is the primary emotion, often seen and expressed as withdrawing or pulling away or resource hoarding. An example of this is they research everything themselves. They don't want their needs to be a problem. They rely on logic and they don't trust their own or anyone else's feelings. They are in the solitary stance and the thinking triad. Their wounding message is it's not okay to be comfortable in this world, and they're pastime oriented. Their natural gifts are they are good listeners. They are a vault for others, meaning you can go to them with anything, personal information, any kind of like, here's a problem. I need this to stay between us. They will keep it locked up tight and it will literally go to their grave with them. They're objectively neutral. That meaning they're not usually influenced by others' emotions or opinions in their decision-making process. They're independent and they have the natural ability to make thoughtful decisions without emotion. Their natural tendency is to rely too much on logic and ignore feelings. And their growth point is to acknowledge emotions from others in real time. All right, type 6, the loyal guardian. Fear is the primary emotion, often seen and expressed as multiple case scenario thinking and prepping. An example of this is the mom who overpacks the diaper bag with everything that she may need or her kid may need, or she'll have a backup diaper bag. Their stance is responsive and their triad is thinking. Their wounding message is it's not okay to trust yourself, and they are present time oriented. Their natural gifts are they have great troubleshooting abilities. They have natural situational awareness. They tend to anticipate what may happen. They're like what if kind of people. They're loyal, they're responsible, and their natural tendency is multi-case scenario planning due to fear and lack of trust and authority. And their growth point is to relinquish control from anticipated outcomes with others. All right, type 7, Melanie, you're my type 7. All right, they are the optimistic enthusiast. Fear is the primary emotion, often seen and expressed as silver lining thinking. An example of this is they reframe negative situations into something positive, usually in real time. And I'm going to give a good example of this. So right before this call, Melanie texted me and said, "Hey girl, are you ready? I'm excited." I was like, "Yeah, I'm just a little bit nervous because I don't want to say anything wrong." And she literally said, "Reframe that into excitement." I was like, oh my gosh, type 7. I'm going to have to use that. So I had to use it. That was so funny. If there was ever any doubt in my head that you were a 7, it's not there anymore. All right. They are in the thinking triad and the independent stance. And their wounding message is it's not okay to rely on anyone for anything. And they are future time oriented. Their natural gifts are they are critical thinkers. They intuitively look for optimism in situations. They're naturally likable people. They are fun to be around, and they can reframe stressful situations in real time. Their natural tendency is to avoid emotional pain by engaging in fun activity or joking or reframing. And their growth point is making space for the expression of sadness when others face difficulties in real time and not reframing. All right, so that was all 9 types. So now if anyone has any questions or anything like that, I'm here for them.
Listen, you know, she's amazing. Kay is amazing. And I so hope that you love that episode. And like I said, head over to womensgroupcoaching.com to sign up now and join these groups. They're absolutely fantastic. But before we leave, we have to tell you a few awesome things. If you didn't know this already, we have a free women's group coaching meetup happening on May 24th at noon Pacific Standard Time. You'll be able to meet the women in women's group coaching. You'll get our May resource, which is all about conflict resolution, and it's called Let's Schedule a Fight. We'll give you the rundown of the back end of women's group coaching, our Discord channels, like what our community really looks like, and the daily prompts that we talk about. It's going to be an amazing, amazing meet and greet. And we'll also discuss a little bit more about our somatic summer, which is coming up in women's group coaching, where we are focusing on all things somatic. Somatic basically just means like body and how we integrate our mind into our body and our nervous system and kind of how we move and live and do the things through our body and our mind. And that might sound weird, but I guarantee you, you are going to totally love it. In June, we're going to do an introduction to somatics. In July, we're going to do sexy somatics. And then in August, we're going to do sensitive somatics. You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be so informative and will help you connect with your body and heal your body and all of the body things. So like I said, head over to womensgroupcoaching.com to join our groups, and you can also apply for that free meet and greet there. If you want to hear the rest of the Enneagram episode, you got to be in the groups because we want to protect our ladies, but I want to see you over there. So again, head to womensgroupcoaching.com to get into the groups and to secure your spot to the free meet and greet on May 24th, noon Pacific Standard Time. That's womensgroupcoaching.com. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Peace.